right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. It's my pleasure to tell you that Jim Beckett is in the studio. And if you have any golf questions, this is a good time to call them in. And it doesn't have to be about the game. It can be about the celebrities behind the game. Sometimes that's interesting, too. Jim Beckett is the only guy who I've ever had teach me golf. And I think Robin's also been only with one golf lesson, and it was with Jim Beckett, who also happens to teach a few well-known celebrities. And good morning, Jim. How are you?
Good morning
to
you, sir.
Good to see you. Good. I was a little disappointed about a week or so ago. You had to bail out or something, and so it's good to see you. I was afraid you were ill. That's what I was afraid. But you're fine.
I was kind of ill.
Oh, were you?
Mentally ill.
Mentally ill.
That's sometimes worse than physical.
I guess we shouldn't make light of that. We're not making fun of it. No. So everything's all right, and
everything's cool now.
Do you know? Somebody said to me the other day that I should golf more because I spend too much time doing serious stuff. So I thought, okay, well, that's the way Jim portrays golf, as something more relaxing than it is serious.
The world's #1 tranquilizer.
But yet, all the movies you see, people are just getting mad. They're breaking their golf clubs, and
there's a lot of things that are misrepresented from people who really don't know about the subject they're talking about.
Interesting. Yeah, so that's the filmmakers, right?
Certainly.
Yeah.
I think Caddyshack brought all that on. The movie.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
A golf movie I remember from way back. I think it was 9 on the Lam. Do you remember that movie by chance? It was a Bob Hope movie.
That's before my time. No,
it was like I think Bob Hope and Phyllis Diller and they were all running away, but they stopped to play golf.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Bob Hope was a very serious golfer that didn't take it too serious.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But it was a real outlet for him.
That seems to have changed, hasn't it? It's like now the golf, when you talk about celebrities in golf, it's usually golfers who are celebrities. But back once upon a time, movie stars were golfers.
Yes, they were. Bing Crosby's tournament had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people participated in golf for fun and didn't get caught up in it being such a part of their life.
I wonder if that would change the landscape of golf. In other words, the people who actually play, if we had the newer stars playing golf more.
I think golf, the one thing that happens with golf is it still is time consuming.
Yeah.
So either you have that time that you devote to it or you don't, and I think it hurts. That's why there's a bigger promotion now for 9-hole golf. Get more people involved. Get more people involved with and less commitment.
So let's see. Dan handed me something to talk about with you. It's the World Challenge moving to Florida.
Yes, that's a big deal. That's the tournament that Tiger Woods had at Sherwood Country Club in California.
And not just Florida, but Orlando.
And they're moving it to Orlando.
Wow. Are you familiar with is it called Isleworth?
Isleworth.
Are you familiar with that golf course?
Yes, that golf course is near perfect condition.
Really?
Because that's the way they want it. That just takes money.
Yeah, I guess it does.
And a smart superintendent with a lot of help. There's more of those kinds of golf courses getting on the marketplace anymore. More affluent people want to have, the super perfect golf course and an outlet with. So the private golf courses are going that route again.
I heard a rumor. Tell me if you heard this, and if so, do you know anything about it? You know where the Castro Mansion used to stand? They tore it down.
Correct.
I heard a rumor they're making that into a golf course.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, okay. You haven't heard the rumor?
Yeah.
You have, but you don't know for sure.
The sources I have, it's strictly a rumor from what I've heard. So
okay.
I always wait for the thing, but I could see that happening.
And just to comment on something, let's see. We had as a guest. I'm trying to think. It was Bernadette. It was the daughter. I think. I'm trying to remember if it was the mom or the daughter. It was years and years ago. But she was one of the ladies was telling us that the reason the Castros moved here way back when was that Mr. Castro, Bernard, was originally from Italy and was driving through that section that we now call Golden Hills or Golden Ocala and said, boy, this looks just like Italy. I want to build here because of the hills.
Yep.
So now...
Great piece of land.
So now he bought it because it reminded him of the hills in Italy. How will that translate into a golf course, a very hilly area?
Excellent.
Hilly by Florida standards, anyway.
Correct. Excellent.
It
Many times
it does seem fun. It does seem like it'd be more fun.
Many times, a lot of the costs in the golf course is how much dirt they have to move around to create some elevation changes.
Oh, really?
So if you have a piece of land that already has it, you might modify it a little bit and design it and critique it a little bit, but sometimes it's better. Here in Florida and a lot of places, we came through the era to build housing complexes to support the golf course, or the golf course to support the housing complexes to get more money for the houses. And so the trend became keep the best pieces of land for the houses and the worst piece for the golf course.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we ended up with some golf courses that aren't necessarily that great. And to make them better, then it was more costly to move the dirt around. So that's why they talk about the old style golf courses. They usually pick that piece of land for the golf course.
Just for the golf course itself. Going back to the, what's it called, the World Challenge moving here, do you think, this is, I guess, speculating, it's happening real soon though, right?
Yes.
So do you think...
It's happening this year.
Do you think that having something that close, that's that big, will have an effect on what you do as a golf instructor? Do you think you get more people wanting a couple tips? Anything
that you have happen that would get someone interested or influence them is certainly a benefit, regardless of the marketplace. So
really,
yes, it very definitely could.
But it's like when you go to
it'll be televised. It's a big deal.
If you go to Lake Placid, New York, the Olympics was there, my gosh, 20, 30 years ago maybe? It's been a long time. But yet they still have these shops, the Olympic skiing shop and the Olympic this and that.
Yep.
So
it's tied at the hip. That will never go away, I don't think.
So this could be similar for golf then?
Well, this will be a real coup for Florida and a real coup for Central Florida. Florida, of course, is broken up kind of, and Florida's kind of three. If you really think about it, it's kind of three places. It's Southern Florida, Central Florida, and Northern Florida.
I know.
They could be completely different states, quite frankly. But
yeah.
Florida's a big state.
So do you think they'll be attracting talent in the same way that Disney does? Will you, for example, be courted by them to perhaps be part of what they do?
No? That's in the stratosphere.
It could be. You never know.
That's the elite of the elite.
I don't know. I mean, hey, who goes to you for golf lessons? A guy who could go anywhere.
I generally, the people I tend to attract come to me because they've tried conventional golf lessons and they've either been disappointed or they didn't work. I do personalized lessons. Which is an entirely different thing, which I think is the only way it works really effective, so the person maintains that product after we do what we do because of the education portion of it. In a sense, and I don't mean to degrade this, but in a sense, the old mechanic fundamental lessons where you were the puppet and the person told you what to do.
Yeah.
That's kind of going away, and I don't think very many teachers prescribe that anymore, although a lot of people would love to have you just to hand them a format of fundamentals and they work. It would be great, but it doesn't work that way very well. So I'm currently doing something I've always wanted to do and have done off and on, is I'm doing one-day golf schools where time is the issue in golf. So instead of taking a series of lessons that might spread over a period of time, which also works, I'm doing some one-day private golf schools for one or two people, couples or single.
Do you meet at the golf course or something?
We have some classroom time, and it's to start in the morning. We do hit some golf balls on the practice area. Then we play, and then we have a debriefing session at the finish.
Oh wow!
So the person then gets a complete conceptual foundation base to work from, and then you're on call for the pieces that they want some additional help for. So it works very, very good. I don't know if too many people do it that way, and I just thought I'd give it a try, and it works.
I have a question about unlearning. But we have to take a little break first. I don't know if you know we're doing this now. We're doing a break now at the middle point. So we need to take a little break.
Sure.
If you have a question for Jim, by the way, the phone lines are open. The number is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-WOCA, and we'll be right back with Jim Beckett.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Today, sunshine mixing with some clouds. It'll be hot with a thunderstorm in parts of the area. High 93 to 95. Patchy clouds tonight, low 73 to 78. Hot tomorrow with clouds and sun. An afternoon thunderstorm around. High 92 to 95. Saturday, partly sunny, hot again with the thunderstorm in the afternoon. High 92 to 97. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
Now is the time to go to your local Kubota dealer, where you can get a great deal on the Kubota Commander zero-turn mower during our Gear Up and Go sales event. With a Commander, you'll get professional performance, signature styling and comfort, affordability, reliability, and a full 4-year, 300-hour factory warranty. So gear up and go to your local Kubota dealer to get a special promotional price of $45.29 with financing as low as 0% APR. For a great deal, think orange at the Kubota Gear Up and Go sales event. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to KubotaDealersOfFlorida.com. $45.29 is the manufacturer's limited time promotional price for the Kubota Commander ZG124E. See dealer for details. Taxes, freight, setup, and delivery not included. Prices may vary by dealer. Valid in the United States only. Prices in U.S. dollars.
Who would you feed if you had 50 chicken sandwiches from Chick-fil-A? WOCA and Chick-fil-A in the Paddock Mall have teamed up to reward one organization with 50 chicken sandwiches as a way of saying thanks for the great work that organization is doing in our community. And we need your help. See, there are so many great people doing great things that we need nominations. You can nominate your own organization or any organization you choose. Simply send an email to WOCA@WOCA.com. And in 350 words or less, tell us why the organization you are nominating should receive 50 free chicken sandwiches from WOCA and Chick-fil-A at the Paddock Mall. We'll review your nominations and then select one deserving organization each month. We'll announce the winner and even read the winning entry on the air. Make sure to include the contact name and phone number of the organization that you are nominating. And thanks from your friends at WOCA and Chick-fil-A in the Paddock Mall.
This is James Snyder inviting you to join me each Sunday morning at 9:30 for Sunday Joy, right here on WOCA 1370.
WOCA, WOCA.
Good talk, great conversation. WOCA, News Talk 1370.
12 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Jim Beckett is here. We're talking about golf. And if you have a question for Jim, the phone number is 622-WOCA. The World Challenge is moving to Florida this year, sounds like. And Jim's going to explain that to you in detail. I hope, because I don't know that I quite understand it yet. But I have one quick question before you do that. Mm-hmm. You one time told us, when we were taking lessons from you, that it's easier, because we were novices, we had never taken a lesson, we didn't know much about golf. You said it was easier to teach somebody who knew nothing than to unteach somebody who had lessons before in order to reteach them. So my question is... when you are scouting for other teachers, like to work with you, that's got to be even harder to unteach. How do you unteach a teacher?
Well, you really don't. You hope that that person that's coming to work with you brings an experience level and a technique that's been successful, and the idea would be just to polish it and expand it. Okay. So there's no one way that's best for everybody anyway. There's nothing that fits everybody. So personalization is my mantra. Learn the person, learn what their physical skills are, learn how they process information mentally, learn what their goals are. Or they just want to get the ball hit, or they want to hit it further, they want it straighter, they want to score lower. All those things go into the mix. And so if the instructor adjusts to the person, it almost ensures success. If the instructor keeps trying to sell the prearranged box you want to put the person into,
yeah, that's a big difference.
both of you usually struggle more than you should. And that's just an observation in looking at golf schools and golf instructors over the many years I've been doing this.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the personal development at the level the person's comfortable with physically and mentally.
Yeah.
So if you give them a goal that's attainable, you both are going to be more successful.
Yeah.
So I don't go in with any preconceived thoughts other than to personalize it for the perception and ability of the golfer.
Once again, and I've done this with you many times, I can relate to it in music terms, because if I'm working with somebody who, and I'm not a teacher of music, but I've helped people understand how to play an instrument, so that sort of makes me a part-time teacher, at least for that moment.
But you one level above teachers.
But I would always do the same thing you say. I would say the same. Just relax, have fun. I mean, don't worry about it too much. I mean, try to do it as well as you can. But actually, when you have fun, it becomes better.
Yeah, the human brain and body works better under a comfort.
I think so. Yeah,
under a comfort kind of a posture. Little innuendos and little small things that might not materialize under a forced situation get masked.
Oh, the same thing with this, by the way, with interviewing people, and it has nothing to do with experience, because it has a lot to do with the guest. Like in your case, you're easy to talk to. We can chat. If you decided you didn't want to talk about golf and instead, the science of cocoa beans, I'd be in with you. But there are other guests who look like it's a textbook kind of an interview, and I have to look at my notes all the time. I hardly look at my notes when I'm with you, except to remember the name of the golf college.
Yeah, well, golf should and could be wonderful for anybody who has an interest in it. It should not be an ordeal. Should not make them aggravated. That's not what it's all about. All of us struggle if we give ourselves a goal that's unattainable.
So are you like a free agent right now? Does somebody call you and say, look, I need a lesson? Is it one-on-one? Are you with one?
Yes, it's strictly private.
And it's one-on-one?
One-on-one or couples. Couples in this area, in our market here, tend to work really well. And when you take lessons in couples, and that doesn't mean opposite genders. It can be two friends. Couples or pairs learn more faster than one-on-one.
Really? I wonder why.
Well, if it's one-on-one, they only have the one perception to deal with. So I adjust to their perception. We beat it to death, and it just is not as good. If you're with someone you even don't know, but especially if you do know them, they're never going to ask a question or a subject that's not going to be pertinent to you too. So it just makes it move a little more. You cover a little more information, and it's an easier flow. You're never going to learn it all anyway. It's an endless task, and at the level where you're comfortable is where you taper off, and then you've attained that goal, and there's a satisfaction of that and an expertise that you can go in and put it into play and enjoy it.
Do you want to give a phone number? I mean, it sounds like an ad when I ask you that, but I mean, right now, if I was listening, I would say, come on, Larry, ask a phone number, and then we'll talk about the World Challenge thing.
I always give out my own personal cell phone.
Let me write it down. Go ahead.
It is 352-470-3876. And I'll welcome anybody if you really would like to get a little bit better without having an ordeal, too much time and too much money involved. This tends to work. It's something I developed over observation of what was working and what's not working. So it works for me, and it works for everybody I've done it with.
Okay, all right.
And we do that every show.
And what I know. And what do you do? Do you
we'll meet and we'll
like you could go to their golf course, like
you can go anywhere.
Really?
Yeah. It's you can do it.
You are freer now than you were. I mean,
absolutely, I love it.
You have somebody open up the bird cage, and now you're flying around.
Yeah. So we can meet anywhere, and we chat and get some personal information so that I learn about the person. I learn what's in their head, and they show me what their body can do. Then we go strike some balls, and I look at them and their clubs. Takes their brain, their body, and their clubs to make the ball go.
Yeah. What do you accept like breakfast invitations? Like,
Oh, certainly.
we'll go out. We'll have.
Yeah, it's basically a 1-day private golf school. So I don't have an hour number on that,
Right.
but it's whatever it takes for that day. So it's going to take the better part of a day. Probably going to be 30 minutes minimum to an hour and a half to do the orientation. 30 minutes to 45 minutes to strike some balls on a practice area, the driving range.
And could you do the orientation over Belgian waffles?
Certainly.
It doesn't have to be a formal classroom, could it?
I have found when I have a Belgian waffle with a student that I tend to get more successful with them.
Well, that sounds actually very nice, doesn't it?
And First Watch makes great ones. I'm giving them a plug.
But I mean, doesn't that sound really enjoyable?
And then they can play 9 holes or 18, whatever they like. And at the finish of that, then we have a debriefing session to bring it all to fruition, where they can take their notes, and I fill out a few little charts for them, and then I'm an on-call therapist, so to speak.
No, you're like a
golf.
personal trainer is what you are.
Exactly.
You're a personal trainer for somebody. Wow.
And it works much better for those who think that's a good idea than taking conventional lessons or going to a hardcore golf school. So if you go to a golf school, you pay a lot more money. You usually hit a way lot more balls than you really should hit. You can only hit so many balls, and it becomes counterproductive. So it's all personalized. If a person needs more ball hitting, we hit a few more balls. If they don't, we don't.
All right.
If the 9 holes is all they need for that day, then we go 9 holes.
So-
And it's a flat fee. If they're buying me for the day, and I share with them all my knowledge that I've gained over the years, and personalize it so it works for them.
So do you have a discussion with them before you actually meet, so they know what to bring? Like, or do they tell you their golf clubs and get your feedback on that?
Well, we talk about that when we make the initial contact. And where I really came up with this idea is when I used to have people who wanted to teach at my facilities.
Right.
That's what I did with them. That's how I learned
Oh, really?
what they knew and what they could do.
Oh, really? So those are the teachers you had to unteach
Well,
in some cases.
no?
No?
I always like to say wherever they were, just like where I'm at, I'm still learning. I learn stuff every week. You never should stop learning anything
Right.
you're in. I mean, you're an expert at what you do, and that you learn all the time.
Yeah, well,
you just keep polishing
it's
and
hard to
making
believe.
it better.
Yeah.
And everybody who's successful doesn't stop learning.
Well, I mean, if you have this, okay, I know we used up all the time talking about that, but I think being a personal trainer is very important to the listeners. Finding out that the World Challenge is moving here is kind of cool stuff.
It's really cool.
Now, will the local players be able to play? Is that a dumb question? That's
No.
not something we play in.
This would be like a New York play coming to the local area.
Oh, okay, so this is for the
a very prestigious
professionals. Okay.
invitational event. It'll be on national television.
Do we have a date for it yet?
Well, I'm looking on the paper here. Looks like it will be December 1 through 7.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, there
no,
it is.
let's see.
The
Official
World Golf Ranking
Yeah.
Points will be held December 1st through 7th, it says.
Yeah. I haven't looked at this ahead of time. It'll be a 72-hole event. They've embellished this. This started at one time as kind of a little orientation or a presentation. It's now into a full-fledged event.
Wow.
It's a big deal.
Jim, we're out of time, believe it or not. Call Jim, have him become your personal trainer, your personal golf instructor. His phone number right now is 352, and anytime, 352-470-3876. Jim, I'm glad to see you. Thank you for coming in. I'm happy for you. I think this is a wonderful thing.
I do too.
I think the listeners are going to love this. Go get some Belgian waffles, learn how to golf the right way. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. A record-breaking settlement over the mortgage banking scandal.